Hello folks! In this video I would like to share a couple of culture shocks that I have experienced when I came to the Netherlands. So let's get started. One of the things that I was really surprised is that there's a set meal time in the Netherlands usually, especially for dinner. So dinner is usually eaten at 6 o'clock and for lunch it is 12. And I was kind of surprised by this because most of the time what I did back in Turkey is that it depends on how hungry we are. Depending on that, we can eat the lunch from 12 until 3 o'clock, for example, and even 4. And for the dinner, we can eat it anywhere from like 5 till 8, maybe 8:30 even. So I was really surprised by that. First, the dinner time was kind of early, and it was kind of very certain. Another thing that I was really surprised by, how fit people usually look. Maybe it is because of the cycling, but yeah, I definitely feel like people in the Netherlands generally look and are probably quite fit and compared to some other countries, I think. I don't know what the reason is, because there's a lot of bread in the diets, but they usually look very fit. For example, yeah, even like older people look very, very good. 80-year-old people are still like traveling in the traffic using their bikes. I think that's really nice. Another thing that I was really shocked when I learned is that weddings are way smaller. You cannot bring more people than you are allowed to. So it is really like an official ceremony or gathering. Yeah, in Turkey, you send like one invite to a family and they can bring 10 people. Nobody counts how many people came. But of course, the service is way better in the Dutch weddings. They serve, I think, drinks and food, I think. It depends, like in Turkey, it depends what they serve, how much they serve. If there are too many people, for example, you know, some people, yeah, will go without having to eat or drink, for example. So, yeah, it's like very organized and small gatherings for weddings. Another thing that is still that I'm not fully used to is how tall people are. So for example, in Turkey, if you're tall, that's like a very good thing. But that's true for like almost all Dutch people here. Like the average height is so high. It is, I think, I don't know, 180 or 185 for guys and 175 for girls. Dutch people are kind of tall. Another thing that is shocking in the Netherlands is that there's not much of a credit card usage. You'll realize when you go to a Dutch supermarket, they usually don't accept credit cards. So only way you can pay is either cash or a bank card, which is called pin card in the Netherlands. For example, in Turkey, credit cards are widely accepted, and actually credit cards are more popular than bank cards. Another thing is that, for example, paying in installments are really common for only specific things. For example, healthcare costs. If you get like a high healthcare cost, then you do pay it in installments. And the thing is, if you pay in installments, I don't think there's much of a difference between paying it at once or paying it in installments. For me, I think it adds up to the same amount. That was really surprising. I think maybe that is because the interest rates are very low in the Netherlands, or maybe it is like government's intervention. That is definitely not the case in Turkey. Saving money in the Netherlands is something everyone does all the time. That was shocking, and to be honest, I had quite a lot to learn from Dutch people on that aspect. So Dutch people will always find a good deal and they'll go with that. So it is something to learn from. Another thing that surprised me is the amount of people that bring their own food to the university. I think that is, I will say, maybe half the people at the university, including both students and the staff. A lot of people bring their home-cooked meals or stuff that they prepared at home to the university. In Turkey, at the university, nobody did that. So almost everybody had their food from the cafeteria. I don't know what exactly is the reason, because both in Turkey and also here, eating from the cafeteria is more expensive, but somehow in the Netherlands, way more people do it. Another thing that I was kind of pleasantly surprised about actually is that talking about money is not a taboo subject. So in Turkey, you really need to be careful about asking people about how much, for example, they earn, etc. But here, I think people are more open to that. I think more open to talking about money, and especially if it is, for example, I don't know, for example, if somebody owes some amount of money to somebody, then that's completely okay to talk about. In Turkey, you will hesitate, you will go through a lot of pain to be able to talk about that type of like a loan situation. But here, people talk way more comfortably about money. Another thing that really surprised me was that cafes and most shopping stores, like drugstores or clothing stores, they close around 6 most of the days. There are some exceptions, but I was really surprised about that, especially the cafes or coffee places closing at around that. I'm surprised because that's definitely not the case. In Turkey, most places are open until at least like 9, 10. Another thing that surprised me is that universities are closed on weekends except for the library, and also in the evenings. You cannot be a workaholic, kind of. I was surprised about that because I don't know whether it was specific to my university back in Turkey, but the thing is, the university was open 7/24, 365 days, and I have spent a night at the university sleeping in one of the classrooms once. And the thing is, you could go, for example, on the weekends to the university, and you could choose like a empty class, for example, and study there. But in the university that I'm doing my PhD in the Netherlands, that's definitely not an option, especially not on the weekends, because on the weekends all of the buildings except for the library is closed, so you cannot go to school to work on the weekends. All right, that was all of the things that I was really surprised about when I came to live in the Netherlands. So what are the culture shocks that you have experienced? Please leave that in the comments below, and see you next time.